All right. First of all, I'm filming, I've said that already, but I'm filming on purpose on 1080p because it just takes too long. I have to be able to render a lot of videos and then I go to my parents and I upload them. Now some things have changed. First of all, this is my pile of clothes. This is another pile of clothes. Right. It's really nice because I have more space now. I can spread my mess over more space and then it doesn't look as messy, right? It just looks like a place where somebody lives. You know, I come in, that's my trousers. Cheers, man. Right, so that's now the kitchen where we'll be shortly. I just want to take you through my morning a little. Yeah. Right, I like the bathroom to be nice and easy. This is my irrigator, which I use to frequently flush my colon. So before I go bouldering in the morning, I don't eat, I flush my colon, and then I go and boulder. How that works is you put lukewarm water in here. You could even take sage tea, put lukewarm water in here. This is on a higher level so that the water flows down into your colon. And then I'm on all fours. There goes some kind of fat or cream on here. I just take coconut fat, right? This is here. This thing is very nice. It has a valve, so you can close it until it's in your rectum and you're ready. And then you say, now flush. Yeah, and then all the water starts streaming into your colon. This is water I've collected to flush the toilet later because I did some dishes and stuff. All right, I've already shown you. No, I actually haven't. You see, I wanted my water filter very badly because it creates a turbulence and it dissipates water clusters, energetic water clusters that water picks up along the way and that are normally naturally dissolved in a stream because you have little rocks and pebbles. But if the water comes through the pipes, then it's just like ding, 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 right? It's very unnatural to flow under such high pressure. And this, first of all, it's being squeezed through the filter. It's like, right? It's like a really very fine mesh. That's what a filter is. Because the water is being squeezed through there, it's already the first time, right? The water flows in and then it's being pressed. It flows through the middle and then it's being pressed through the pressure to the outside and then it flows out here. And there is a ceramic thing that creates turbulences. And I wanted this thing because, I really feel the difference in the water. And so I didn't know how to connect this because I only had this thing. And then I was asking people, what could I use? I already had one of these, but I couldn't get it to this. And then I went to the tool shop and I talked with the guy and I explained him my problem and he didn't really get it. And then I came back with the filter and then I showed him and then he said, just get a faucet or a crane or however you call this thing. I think it's called a faucet. And then I said, I like so much being in the center of attention that I always want to turn the camera around. So I said, all right, 42 euros, that's the cheapest option that I had available. And then I came here and I connected it. And then, water was leaking and stuff. And so I made sure that it doesn't. This, of course, now is useless. But this is DIY. I love it. Some people would say, yeah, that's so terrible. Yesterday, that's what I carried here. It already looks much nicer to me because I know also I carried it here. It's a very simple solution, but it's wood. And that's what I like, right? That's what I want in my kitchen. It's very simple. You know, this I could, of course, also build myself. But this is roughly the idea I had for my kitchen, because I'm still not sure. You know, cooking like this is nice. I like it. It's an adventure. But to be honest, I also like cooking while standing, because it's just, I don't know, you just have more range of movement, or you have more space also to put things. All right, but I like this already. It's a small change. I can put up spices and stuff. I'm already looking at my breakfast because the avo is really soft now. This is what I want to cook. I already soak lentils since yesterday, right? So they also don't cook as long. We're gonna make some kind of lentil soup, or maybe you may call it a lentil gruel. I don't know if that's a word. And that's the other one that I carried here yesterday. And that's things we just had available at home. Yeah, I still, you know, I'm still, you know how Ramdas says it? Of the world. Right, you're like off the world, but also not really. And now my job right now is to just, you know, this already has been cleaned. Roughly, it's all right. Now all I want to do is just to see, right? Because for now, I don't really have to be, right? For me, it's just, now I just want to put things in there to see how it feels. Because the less stuff that is there, the better I feel about living here. Because having a pile of clothes is nice, right? I don't know how your living situation is at the moment, but I can tell you from experience that at some point you probably have to do laundry. You probably have to clean. You know, I know how it's like to live in a mess. I know how it's like to just live in one room. I mean, I've lived in one room for years on end. Years on end, literally. And a lot of dirt piles up in one room. And you cannot escape that room, which means, you know, sometimes it may feel a bit like a problem. So I'm also right now, I'm not overly concerned. You know, before I could just hang everything because I don't like folding things. Now I have to fold things, so I have to change the idea that I have that I don't like folding things and just say, alright, I'll just have to fold it now. So if I live in this mentality, I don't like folding things, then every time I'm here and I have to fold my clothes, I would say, oh, I hate this. But I say, hey, that's the challenge, right? You know, enjoy folding things. You just always, every time you have to turn the coin around, you have to say, oh wait, you think you hate this? Wait till you learn how to love it. It's like, you think you hate being alone? Wait till you learn how to love it. Simply because I'm alone here, I can do what I want. And nobody can say anything about it. Right? It's like, nobody. Because if you ask somebody, hey, we have an apartment for you and we're gonna pay it, and the person takes it, then you have no right to go in there anymore, because I also know how to keep them out, right? I just say, I don't want you in here in the moment. because I like the distance. I may invite you sometimes for dinner. You know, that's how I fold t-shirts. You know, they don't have to be super, you know, I don't care if they're like super neat. I take the t-shirt, I fold it in half, and then I just fold it in half again. Some people, they fold it like the arms, and it's just nonsense. I mean, if it makes sense to you, go ahead, man. But I like doing things in what I would consider to be an efficient way. Alright, so I can take all my, what you may call like free spirit hipster clothes, which is like all this really colorful stuff. I just put it there. Maybe the blankets for now, I just put one on top. Now there I have t-shirts because I do have way too many sweaters. And I already thought, you know, I have a small storage room which is, you know, kind of outside of the apartment. And I already said I think I'm going to put some things there as well. It's like, I mean, look at all of these shirts. You know, how often do you wear a suit? How often? It's just like never. Right? So there are a few shirts which I may just keep here simply because I like them. But it's not like I have to have all of them here in this room. Sure, I will build something here still, I think. It really depends, because yeah, I also need storage space. But just in general, I mean, if I do it like this, it's still neat. Right, so I was thinking, here I can put something, I just have to see it first. Because if I just do it now, in my mind, I have limited imaginative possibilities. Okay. But generally, I like the way this is going. I realize more and more that the less you have, also in terms of furniture, I mean, this is fairly easy to transport. If you think about people that have like giant, gigantic closets, and when you move, every time you have to move it all, it's terrible. Of course, now I also have to say I stretched it out, right? It's like, you know, one day I take these things, the shelves or whatever, then the next day I take something else. Yeah, so all these shirts, I'm just gonna put them neatly on top of each other. Because I don't know, this, for example, I don't really wear this. So I may even do something else with it. I can cut off the arms. I can stitch something onto it. Maybe I will wear it. Who is to say, right? It's not like I just don't like it, it's just... Yeah, actually it's true, I don't like it. Because some shirts, you know, if I wear something and I feel like it's cutting off underneath my arms, forget it, man. It's bad for energy flow. So my life is directed towards flow, right? I get up, I want to be in flow. And that's why right now, you see this? There's this restricted flow. Okay, t-shirts I said are here. This is so strange. Alright, trousers I had here. So this is a pair of trousers which is way too big. I don't know why I bought them, but I'm gonna make something with it. Right, I'm gonna see how I can manage. So I have a few projects that still aren't, I'm still working towards them. This is my sleeping bag. So I also want to make sure that I don't have too much stuff lying on the floor so that I can just wipe it really easily. I also decided I do not want a carpet in this room. Because this is not a living room, this is a working room. If the ground feels cold here, I wear socks. That's it. There is a carpet because that's the living room, that's okay. But I don't want a carpet in here, I think. I think, right? It's like... I don't have to fix on these things. I can say it now, and then later I can see, oh wait, maybe now I do want a carpet. But the thing is, if I have two carpets, I also have to clean two carpets. And I think that's the kind of luxury I can say, yeah, I don't really need that. Because to be honest, I also like this room just plain like this. It's very simple. Yes, so I haven't really decided yet, and that's where I need more space. I haven't really decided yet where to put the towels, because I don't want them in the bathroom. Because when I do, take a dump in the bathroom, then they're starting to smell. So I want that they smell nice and fresh. Right, and that's why you also don't store your clothes in the kitchen, right? So I store my clothes. Oh wow, it's like all single socks. Okay. Right now I can't yet really tell the difference because they're still kind of a mess, but it does look already a bit nicer. Just a bit more tidy, just that when you wake up you can actually appreciate, oh wow, I live here. Yeah, and because you also have to feel that you live here. And that's why I have to feel that I live here. And nobody else. Right? Nobody else has to feel that he lives here. I have to feel that I live here. And that's why I said to everyone who thought he could just come in here and do things, I said no. Right? No. The reason why I say then, the man that thinks he's my father, he would have used me. I'm saying it the way it is. He would have used me to get himself off on helping me. He would have come here and he would have done these things like, it's like jerking into my face. Because he thinks, that's what he prides himself, that he's the best man around, right? So he prides himself, if you go to him and he asks for help, it's like you're jerking him off. So I simply stopped doing this. And I don't care. Sometimes I talk to my mother, or the woman who thinks she's my mother. I talk to her, and I tell her things, and she runs to that man. I'm just saying it like this, you know why. And then he comes and says, I'm gonna do it. what? So it's like he's the extension of my mother, or the woman who thinks she's my mother. You know, it seems tedious to say it like this every time, to say, he who thinks he's whatever, but it's the truth. Because like I said, they're not really that for me. They could have been, but they're not. Right? And I mean that as well. I say they could have been, because that's what could have happened. They could have been a mother or a father, but because of their particular situation, trauma, upbringing, it's not actually their trauma. That's just the way they are. Because saying it's their trauma is just an excuse. Now think about it. However my life turned out to be, I still made my choices. And you may say, yeah, you're not serious, you're just fooling around. You know, I don't care about all these opinions from people. What I care about is what I see, what you do, your actions. You know, because you are a representation of who you are, of your ideals, of what you think is good or bad or whatever. That's what you are a representation of. And that's why when you say, right, this is like this or this is like that, yeah, it's all nice and cool to say these things, but ultimately, it's just words. And when I look at, you know, that man, I really want to go through with this. For a while at least, until it has cooled off a little. Maybe I feel a bit more independent or something. Sometimes you just need that kind of distance, emotional distance, whatever. Anyway, so what was I trying to say? Or what was I saying? Because I wasn't just trying to say it, I was actually saying it. Soaring through the sky. Alright. Yeah, because I still made my own choices, right? I could have gone and I could have studied. I did study. And I have a degree in environmental protection, and I have a degree in a master's in wildlife. And I could have done these things, but I simply said no. I didn't simply say that, it was a challenge, but yeah, I still said it. To certain things in my life, I simply said no. And my father wanted to have money, because he was sick of having no money. When he grew up, they had no money and he wanted to have money. Now, if he wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't live in this apartment now. You know, I acknowledge this. But if I wouldn't live in this apartment, I would live somewhere else. And maybe I would live on the streets, right? And that's what I would be then. A part of me also lives on the streets. It's nice to have an apartment to put my things in. But that's also something I said to my mother yesterday. That's how I'm gonna do it, my mother. My father. You know, easy way out, easy way out. You know, I had a conversation with her because she's still stuck on, yeah, the reason your brother shouted at you was because you didn't want to leave. And because she kept saying that, I thought, wait, what's the catch? You know, because she's trying to push all the blame on me. Right? They're trying to push all the blame on me. They're just stuck in this, yeah, but he just came in here. No, he just came in here. He's wrong, it's his fault. Yeah, and that gives you the right to shout at me? To pull you through your apartment and then to pull me downstairs. You know, that's it. You know, I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying that's what you did. I knocked and you said, come in. And that's the point where I said, oh yeah, now I got you. Because she said, yeah, but you were in his apartment and they wanted you to leave. Yeah, but they invited me in. I knocked and they said, come in. I asked them, can I come in? And they said, yeah, sure, come in. And that's how they treat their guests. You know, if you invite somebody into your home, and you say he's your brother, and then you shout at him and you want to get rid of him because he actually wants to help you. You know, I'm still processing things, right? A lot has happened. Right? So, because that's how it is, right? On one level, things have happened, but I have to deal with them on another one. So maybe you want to call it the material plane, right? On the material plane, things have happened, but I have to deal with them on the emotional plane, because it was their anger that exploded into my face. And all I had to do, right, it's like all I had to do was just to hold my ground. And that's a challenge. But I held my ground and now I have an apartment. So that's my own personal hero story. You know, my family tried to get rid of me and I stood my ground. Nice hero story, right? At least to me, it certainly is. Other people would say, what an idiot. And I say, well, I got an apartment out of it. So how much of an idiot can I be? I would say I'm actually quite smart. And the way Alan Watts said it, a fool must persist in his folly until he becomes wise. And I'm very good at persisting in my own follies until I become wise. Because most people, they're afraid to look like fools. And so they look like fools all the time because they don't persist. Not really. You know, because it's not just about, you know, in order to persist in your folly, you have to become wise. And the example that he gave was, I'm just going to put it all in there, it doesn't really matter right now. The example that he gave was, hey, Nako. I say, some of these spiders, they just don't want to. They just don't want to leave, right? But now it left. So the example that he gave was, you know, if somebody would say the earth is round, no, somebody says the earth is flat, right? And he thought that was stupid, but to me the earth is flat. There's almost no doubt about it. At least consciousness is flat. I don't see proof for a round earth. But I also don't really care about it, because I can waste my entire life to try and figure out whether the earth is round or flat. But that's, again, being separated. You know, maybe the earth is round and flat. It's possible, right? So I don't really have to think about any of this stuff. You know, there are trousers where I think, why did I even get them? Anyway, for now I just have them. That's just the way it is. Anyway, so what happened, he said, so if you would want to convince somebody of the truth that the earth is really round, you know, like a flat earther, you would have to make him walk, you know, he would have to take a starting position, and then you would have to force him to walk in a certain direction, and if he came back at one point at his destination, you know, where he started, then he would know. But it's basically impossible. Of course, if you would take a compass, maybe you could accomplish it, but yeah, how are you going to cross oceans? Yeah, that's a little bit more difficult. You see, this is like, who needs so many clothes? You know, I could do it with much less. Okay, this one I still have to fix. There are already needles in there. Just have to make sure to remember that. Just put it here. This is just I'm never going to wear this. Well, I may cut it into something else. Or maybe sometimes you just want to throw things away because you don't like the energy. Right, so but somebody, you know, if you would tell him that, you know, walk around the earth. Yeah, I don't like this t-shirt. Because I'm not a fucking child. And I don't like some of these presents people give me. It's just like, why? Why do you have to give me a t-shirt? Alright. To me that's good enough. Yeah, I'm still angry at a lot of things. Some of them I'm just angry out of pure principle. Because sometimes you just think, I think I just have a right to be angry. Sure, maybe. But at one point, being angry is gonna get boring, and you're gonna realize what the cost is. So, at the moment, I think they think that I'm angry. But I just maintain. Right, I don't really give them more than I have to, so that they stay away from me. Because as long as they think I'm angry, they're gonna leave me alone. Which means if they leave me alone, I don't have to talk with them. And if I don't have to talk with them, I have more time to do other things. And I don't have to waste time explaining stupid stuff that they don't understand anyway. Because they may understand it while you talk to them. And then it turns out, oh, they didn't agree with you after all. I'm just sick of this, right? I'm just sick of talking to people and then realizing afterwards they've just been talking about you behind your back. Wow, these cameras are like really far away. I mean, this is basically any distance, almost no distance at all. All right. Maybe I just want to change that. Because quite a delicate apparatus. Could call it an apparatus. An apparatus. But what I can do, and that's quite nice then again, it's just say, find a space where it has a good overview. All right. Okay, I said I want to have breakfast. This is the lentils, and I have to cook them now, because otherwise they're just going to get rancid. But I also feel like eating at the moment. So I don't have to fool you. I know I could probably be doing breathing exercises right now instead of eating more food. I could do that. Maybe that's where I am a little immature. But the thing is, I also have the feeling that I'm actually doing okay like this. It's like you don't have to do everything. It's like I don't have to go and do weightlifting. Why? Why would I have to do weightlifting? No, I like to do the exercises that I like to do. And so I can have any opinion that I want to have. I don't have to go around and tell everyone about it. But if somebody asks me, I'm going to say I actually don't give a shit. But if I think about it, sure, why not? The earth could be round and it could be flat. But I don't really think that the images we have of space are real. I think these are all computer generated things. That's just what I think. So this is a basic ketogenic breakfast. Olives, apple. But then it's also vegan ketogenic. You could eat, of course, more like vegetarian, which I seem to be doing. And there's a part of me that really craves cheese. But when I'm eating this, I think what I'm really craving is salt. Because cheese often is really salty. sometimes I also don't know what to do when. Because now I feel like I want to cook. So let's cook. And this is going to be a simple meal. Wow. Coconut fat. So these lentils were dry. Some people use canned ones, but I like them dry. Because when I soak them, I'm forced to cook them. If I eat it out of the can, I don't have to cook. So cans also invite you to be lazy. Cumin seeds help with digestion. Yellow mustard seeds for taste, certainly. If I would have, I would add yeah, this stove is really weird, so you have to be a little bit careful. Bay leaves, I don't know what they do. You would probably have to look that up yourself. But I believe them to be very good. Ginger. I have a lot of ginger at the moment, so let's have to make sure to use it. So once you heat the fat, right, one of the first things to put in is then the onion. At a medium heat so that it can sizzle. Right, this is the type of food you can eat that for breakfast. Because oats are literally dead. When you are used to eating oats, it's like eating sawdust. There's no life in these things. Sure, they're gonna stuff you, but they're also making you heavy. If you eat like this, like more ketogenic, you don't have to cut onions really fine. But you can if you like it. Because it does change the flavor a little. I also like it to not have one of these air ventilator thingies that just suck out all the energy from the kitchen. Because they just make so much noise. And every time I wanted to cook with my parents, somebody would come and because my father didn't like the smell of food. Yeah, it wasn't so much that he didn't like it, he just likes to spread contempt. He just likes to take a piss on people. So he realized at some point that it annoyed me to turn on this thing, and so he just persisted that I had to do it. Simply because he's trying to force his way of life onto other people, and that's why living with him is basically torture. Because you live like you're in a prison. Because he's living in a prison of fear. And he's just forcing everybody to suck up his bullshit because he thinks, oh yeah, I'm earning the money. I can do what I want. I'm super important. And so yeah, you go into the kitchen, he farts. Right? Somebody cooks food for him, he says, I'm not hungry. So my mother just stopped cooking. My mother. She just stopped cooking. She just stopped giving a shit, because whatever you do to a person who's kind of like, I'm the victim. But at the same time they're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm the best there is. It's just annoying as fuck. Because imagine, some days he comes home and he says, there's no food, I'm starving. And then you start cooking for him meals every day. And then he says, I'm not hungry. And he just eats bread. After my mother stood in the kitchen and cooked food, he comes home and just eats something else, just out of protest. I don't want your love. You know, I'm quite different. If I come home, right, and my wife would have cooked something for me, I would eat it. Just out of love and compassion, just because she stood there and cooked it. Right? So I'm gonna eat it. And sure, maybe you don't 100% like it. But it doesn't matter, she cooked it, and so I'm gonna eat it. Just like that. Because it's her food. And that's why to me, you know, yeah, sure, I can say, yeah, he's very traumatized. But then I can also say, yeah, but he's an asshole. Because you cannot use your trauma to torture other people. Yes, sometimes ginger gets moldy, which is weird. Which certainly also says something about the quality of the ginger. Because ginger actually should be able to protect itself against mold. But this ginger is weak, because it's being overproduced. So there are differences in food. There are differences in spices and ginger. But unless you have experience, you won't notice. Right? There's ginger that's more ginger. Because ginger is also kind of an entity, right? It's not just the root, it's also, there's a spirit living in there. And when you tamper with these things and you breed them and you put like fertilizers on top, then it cannot properly grow and then it actually loses a lot of its healing properties. So this is just to show you, right, the recording may stop at any point and I'm not bothered by it. I'm just gonna do this, but the plan that I have is I'm gonna add the cumin seeds still, and I'm gonna add, oh yeah, this is going to be like strong flavored ginger soup. Ginger, a lot of ginger, because I'm pushing something out at the moment, right? All these emotions of hatred. Wow, this is the kind of food that's gonna burn it away, and that pushes you through your depression and onto the next level. You know, I'm not too fussy. I know here nobody walks here with shoes. I'm gonna make sure of that. There are other places where I wouldn't pick it up because people just walk there with shoes and they're just really disrespectful. Right? It's like in Asian culture, it's just normal that you do not walk with shoes in the house. You come home, you take off your shoes. And that's why I'm glad that I know how different cultures also live. And I really like ramen. You can make really nice vegan ramen. And that's the kind of soup also I may be aiming for, right? That's the kind of soup I like to make also. It's just like in general. So this is basically the stock. This is what's going to flavor your soup. It's onion, it's bay leaves, it's ginger, it's cumin seeds, it's mustard seeds, yellow mustard seeds. There's a lot of ethereal oils in cumin seeds and mustard seeds. The onion, you know, it's giving a bit of sweetness also if you fry it a little. The coconut fat is also giving taste. And this is the basic, this is the baseline of the soup. And then you add this. But this is the baseline. And that's simply something you have to get used to, because your body will reject this kind of food. Right? I mean, there's people that just cannot open up to anything or anyone. Right? They make once a bad experience or they don't like something. I basically can like anything. I mean, I mostly eat vegan. but I can still appreciate the way meat smells. And sometimes I'm really craving bacon. You know, I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna eat it again. Because if I do eat milk products, I might as well eat meat. But I don't really see the benefits in eating meat. I mean, I look back on this kind of English breakfast. Yeah, I enjoyed eating it, but I also say it's quite an ignorant meal. Because it's just too fat, it's too heavy. Yes, so when you soak them, they have time to sprout. And then they're different. Because the way they cook them for the cans is probably under pressure with a lot of heat, so that they're cooked really fast. Right? There's no stirring, there's no soaking, it's just like bam, 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 and then in the cans and then to the shops. I like to take my time with cooking. Right? And now I also like cooking again. Right? Also, if you soak the lentils, and now I use the water, of course, that also adds the flavor, right? Some people, when they cook pasta, they use the pasta water for making a sauce. Just to give you, this is on full, the tap is on full now, but the water comes out of here fairly slowly. And this is what I say, it's the spring, right? Alright, I have 19% of battery left. It says 31 minutes. So all I have to do now is make sure, because now also the lentils have been soaked already, so they cook much faster. So I don't have to like overly boil it to a pulp, right? All I have to do is bring it to a boil and then let it soak. And that's why, because if I boil this now, it will boil over, right? That's just experience. Because if it boils, things are gonna come out. I want garlic in there. This is dried garlic. Of course, it doesn't have the same properties as fresh garlic, but it still gives taste, right? So all I want now is actually to heat this up. And also, if I make a small pot, this is 2 portions, this is 2 meals. Right? I think this was just an appetizer. Right? The next one is this soup. So yesterday I ate cake, and it's okay, right? Today I just make sure I'm gonna eat something else. Because in that sense, it doesn't really matter if you eat something today, you can always eat something else tomorrow. So at this point, I can say I still like it sometimes to eat cake, or sugar at least. But this is how I mainly like to eat. But if I would have sugar here, if I would have honey here, I would eat it all the time again. So that's the only option that I have, to just not have sugar here. To have no raisins. To have none of the foods that I would have normally eaten and stuffed myself with them. Right? That's the amount of control that I have. Right? It's like somebody gives me something that I actually don't want to have at home. I say, eat it yourself. And that's it. This video is over now. And whatever message is trying to get through, I don't really care. You see, now this is also something that you have to consider. Right? It's like protein from the lentils. You have the same with chickpeas. So of course, if I would cook this in a bigger pot, I wouldn't really have to worry about this. So I'm probably, I'm gonna turn this off now. Because for now it's just like, you can call this slow food actually. It's like food that takes some time. So you can just let it stand at a heat and then it just falls apart gently instead of boiling it to death. And I can still heat it up again, right? I'm just stretching out. Because I also want to do something else now. Oh, you see? Now, if I would just leave this and go somewhere else, this would boil over really fast.